Hello, 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 ladies. Welcome to Monday Masterclass with Coach Nat, the Keto Bikini Pro. What is up? Happy Monday. See y'all in the chat. What up, ladies? Did y'all get it in today? Did y'all hit the gym? Did you get your training done today? Are you eating your food and nailing your macros today? Are you drinking your water and staying hydrated today? Let me know. Drop a comment. I got my leg day in. And for those ladies in the academy, you know, if you know, you know, we're going hard this block, this training block. So, whoo, your girl is like ready to eat some steak. I got my steak out waiting for me. So I'll be hollering at that sirloin afterwards. Also, for everyone watching this live, tomorrow, April 23rd, Equip is doing a promo on strawberry, Equip Prime Protein. So I've been making some stuff with my strawberry Prime, and I'll be sharing that on my Instagram. I'll probably drop it in the Facebook group. So check it out there and you'll get all the deets about the promo. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what it is, but they're basically going to be doing a deal with my special limited time code from Tuesday to Thursday on the strawberry flavor only. So I know Coach Mary Grace is loving her some strawberry. I've got a strawberry creamy in the freezer waiting for me for tonight. And I made some strawberry crepes the other day that were chef's kiss. So just had to drop that because that's going to be my dessert tonight, my strawberry cheesecake creamy. So as we are talking about gains on tonight's masterclass, we're talking about eating more food, training for gains, specifically to build muscle, which means you are working on gaining, not losing. And boy, oh boy, is that a mind F. All right, ladies in the chat, please let me know if you have ever done. I've asked this question on a previous masterclass. I'm curious. I know some of you because I know some of you personally. So I know some of you will say yes. Usually if you've worked with me, you could say yes, but most women would say no to this question. And the question is, have you ever purposely eaten more food strategically and purposefully and cautiously, intentionally eaten more food with the purpose of gaining body weight, gaining muscle gains? Have you ever done a strategic building phase, or bulking as they call it in the bodybuilding space? But we don't like to call it bulking here because we know women don't want to bulk. That does not sound enticing. That does not sound appealing. I don't like the idea of bulking either. I'm all about some lean gains though. So that's what our build program focused on. If you did the build with us, and if you're in the Facebook group, we talk about this stuff a lot, and you see a lot of ladies sharing their journey about being on a building phase, going through a reverse diet. If you've ever gone through a reverse diet, drop a comment, let me know. Have you ever done it? Deb says no. Karen says yes. I know Karen did because she did it with us. She said, yes, I'm back at it with her training. Congrats. Super proud of you, Karen, for getting back to it on a Monday. Becky says, no, never. That idea was foreign to me until KBS. We are opening eyes and hearts and minds here. That's what we're all about here. Yes, Simpson says, yes, I know she's in it right now. She's doing a really great job. It's so exciting. So, okay, the more and more I have talked about this, and the more my clients, my community, my tribe have talked about this, the more I have seen women come out of the woodwork and message me or join the academy with the intentions of reverse dieting, eating more food, having the recognition, realizing, oh my gosh, I have been under eating for so long that my metabolism has slowed down. And now, if I look at any food, I'm gaining weight. If I have a day where I'm not fasting, I gain weight. And they have learned and realized that this is not going to be a good idea long term. Where do you go from here? There's nowhere to go from here. You have to improve your metabolism so that you can live and be able to eat more and actually not just wither away less and less and less calories until you're eating air, right? Rhonda, yes, my girl. Reverse dieted, yes, and loved it. We've had some really exciting wins. We got to talk more and more about this stuff so we can open more hearts and minds, women in particular. So this topic tonight came to me from a current member and more than one, and some ladies who are not working with me who've reached out and just asked me to speak about this subject because there's not a lot out there for them on this subject. And so I have done a masterclass on the mindset of recomp. So going into a recomp phase, which is very similar, a little bit different, but very similar. So that could be helpful as well. If this is a topic that is on your mind and something you want to see more about, you can check out that masterclass as well, the mindset for recomp, because recomp is a different ballgame than fat loss, and building is a different ballgame than fat loss. It can feel more difficult to get yourself into the mindset of, I need to eat more, and I may potentially see the scale go up, and that's okay. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. How can I embrace the gains? How can I embrace eating more food? How can I potentially embrace being in a larger body or a body that weighs more on a scale, which doesn't necessarily mean it's larger, but what if I'm in a building phase and I now need to shift this mindset that has been focused on fat loss and weight loss, unfortunately, weight loss for way too long. And that is a difficult process because what you're trying to do is retrain your brain. Now, let me get to my notes because I've got so many notes. I'm going to try not to talk for 5 hours tonight because there's a lot I could say on this subject. But the truth is, the process is no different. The mental process of a building phase is no different than the mental process of a fat loss phase or of any other change. It is the same concept or the same process that we have to go through when we are striving for any change in our lives. Why? Because, as I always like to talk about, this limbic brain is going to fight us tooth and nail when we are trying to make a positive change. Because any change at all to our survival brain, which is an emotional brain, it is not logical. It is not thinking, oh, this is good for us. This is going to be great. It's thinking fear, alert, abort mission, run. This is not what we do. This is not our normal. Why are you making us do something different? Right? Fears. So the real topic tonight is really about fear, because what's underneath this whole concept of the difficulty of the mentality around a building phase, it's based on fears. So the question that drove this topic was, how do I eat more when I'm afraid to eat more? What do I do when I'm afraid of food? I'm afraid to eat. I'm afraid of the scale going up. I'm afraid of gaining weight. Just this fear around eating more food and gaining. All right, so that's the intro. So let's get into this thing. All right, first and foremost, the number one thing you have to do, everything in this masterclass, like most, are going to apply pretty much to anything. You could put anything in the place of fear of eating food. Any fears, we're going to go through the same process. So we need to get clarity around the fear. What exactly are you afraid of? Because here's the thing, y'all. Whatever you're seeking to accomplish, whether it's gaining muscle, whether it's losing body fat, whether it's getting a new job, whether it's attaining a new skill, going back to school, whatever it might be, whatever you're striving for, if you don't deal with the thoughts around that thing, no process, no protocol, no plan is going to magically make it happen for you. We have to take our thoughts hostage. So, what exactly are you afraid of? Nail that down first. Of course, as usual in these masterclasses, I have to speak to the general audience. So I don't, if I was working privately with a client about this particular topic, I would be asking them, tell me about your fears. What exactly are you afraid of? And once we got clear on that, where is that fear coming from? Is it grounded in reality? Probably not. Or is it an emotionally driven falsehood? As I've talked about many other times when we're trying to take the thoughts hostage, we have to find the lies, because a lot of the time it's driven by lies that our limbic brain is feeding us to keep us from making the changes we're trying to make. So let's talk about fear number one, the fear of eating more food, putting more calories into your body. It's really, the fear is not of the food itself. Like, you're not like, oh my God, I'm so afraid of the beef. It's the fear behind that fear is really the weight gain. So the fear driving the fear of eating more food, more calories, is more calories means I'm going to gain weight. So that's really the fear we're talking about here. So where does the fear of weight gain come from? First off, probably for many of you, and I would say there's probably two camps here, but many of you, or most of you, the fear of weight gain is coming from past experience. You have been overweight, or you have had some excess body fat you wanted to get off. And maybe you did, maybe you didn't, right? Maybe you're still somewhere in there, but for the most part, usually it's this, I've gotten some or all of the weight off, and I'm afraid to put it back on by putting more food in my body. Holler at me if that's you. If you're like, okay, yep, that was me. I had all this excess body fat. I was overweight. I'm scared to go back there. So I don't want to put more food in my body, because I know when I was overeating, I was overweight, and I don't want to be overweight anymore. And that's where the fear is coming from. Oh my God, if I eat more, I'm going to get fat. I'm going to go backwards on my goals, right? That's usually the biggest part. The other side of that could be you've never been overweight, but you're just afraid it's going to happen to you somehow magically if you eat more. Because maybe you've always restricted. Maybe you've always been on a diet. So your whole life you've always been on a diet. You've never really been overweight, but for some reason you have a thought in your head that if you eat more, if you don't control everything you eat and keep it restricted to a certain calorie amount, that you will become overweight. Now, in that case, it's a little bit easier to find the lie, because if you have never been overweight, where is this coming from? It's clearly not grounded in reality, because you've never had that. So why do you have this thought in your head that I'm going to get fat if you never were before, if you've never experienced that before? So in that second one, it's a little bit easier to recognize the lie and call it out for what it is. It could be that you've seen people in your family, your mother, your grandmother, your aunts, other women in your family gain weight, and you're just afraid it's going to happen to you because you've seen it happen to them, even though it's never happened to you. But I'm going to focus more on that first one because most in my community have been overweight or have had excess body fat that they've gotten off, and they're afraid of putting it back on. But if you're in that second group where you've never been overweight, but you're still afraid, I would invite you to explore that and identify where that's coming from. And try to get in touch with that lie, because if it's never been a part of your reality, it's certainly not coming from your logical brain. All right, so let's get into the first one. Past experience with being overweight and fear of returning to that previous state of being. I would invite you to consider this, and this is what it was for me. When I had excess body fat, when I was overweight, in quotes, because really for me, it was more of a body composition thing. And for many of you, it's a body composition thing. Some of you absolutely are or have been severely overweight, meaning over fat, having excess body fat, despite wherever your muscle was. But most of you never knew what your body composition was when you're in that state, and haven't even looked at that until maybe you came here. For some of us, it wasn't an issue of truly being overweight. Our doctors wouldn't have told us that, but our body composition was out of whack. So we had more body fat and less muscle, and we didn't look fit or toned or any of that. We looked fat. That was me. I've always been short, petite, doesn't have very many places to go. I didn't have as much muscle and I had more body fat. So I looked very soft and squishy and big for my petite frame. Although it was only about 30 pounds, it made a difference on me. So, okay. So if your past experience is that you had excess body fat, overweight, right? And you're afraid of going back there, consider this. When you were overweight, were you tracking what you were eating? Were you purposely over-consuming? Were you working toward a particular goal? Or were you not looking at anything and you were living it up and living your best life, eating whatever the heck you wanted in probably all kinds of quantities? You were probably the latter. You weren't paying attention. So your fear is likely based on times that you haven't purposely, when you haven't purposely been under eating. You haven't been on a diet to lose weight. And that's the way it was for me. Yo-yo, right? The only time I ever looked at what I was eating and cared about what I was eating was when I was on a diet and trying to lose weight. If I wasn't trying to lose weight, I wasn't paying attention at all. And I'm pretty sure that's the grand majority of you. Because anytime somebody leaves me and comes back later to work with me again, it's, well, I started eating all the things and I gained this much back and now I need to get it together again. So this is actually a good thing in this case, because when we're trying to change that fear, reduce that fear, remove that fear, you now have a logical argument against that emotional brain. You were not tracking, you were not being intentional or purposeful with your choices. You were not working toward a goal when you weren't on a diet to lose weight. So logically, it doesn't make sense to fear eating more when it's actually done intentionally, strategically, and purposely. That's not what caused the fat gain before. And now you have a logical argument. So you're not actually afraid of eating more leading to body fat. What you're actually afraid of here, you're afraid that not dieting will lead to out of control eating, which will result in weight gain. And what we talk about here, which is fat gain, because we want to clarify, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. This is a great comment from Jennifer. Building and not being on a diet anymore has blown my mind. Totally different mindset. Yeah, and what that is that you have awareness of what you're eating. You have education, you have knowledge, you have experience, and you have awareness. You are not eating mindlessly like you were when you were a different body composition. Here we go. Yes, Karen, so much more aware of the nutrient density now. So this is where, and we're going to get into in a minute, about the education piece and how important that is. But the truth is, if you're afraid of eating more leading to weight gain, fat gain, what you're really afraid of is losing control. So let's explore that. Then we want to go a level deeper. Why are you afraid of losing control? Do you have evidence of having done that before? This is where we get back to that first two pieces, right? Have you been overweight or have you never been overweight? Why are you afraid of that? One is very easy to find the lie, right? Same thing here. Why are you afraid of losing control over your food, over your choices? You either have evidence that you've done that in the past. As soon as you start to allow yourself to eat a little bit more, you lose all control. And that's very real for people that they've done that. That was me. I was afraid to purposely eat more because I was afraid that as soon as I started to, I would just go off the rails because I've done that before. Now, if you've never done that before, now we clearly can find the lie there, right? Because wait, why am I having this fear of something that's never happened before? Where is that coming from? Explore that, right? But if you have been there before, then this is where you go into that. How will eating more real food strategically, according to a plan, just like you had a plan when you were dieting, if you're doing that purposely to gain, you have a plan to follow, why would you lose control? So we have to ask ourselves, what triggered me to lose control in the past? And I can tell you 100%, it was thoughts. It was this limbic brain that sent thoughts to you. Oh, you already ate a strawberry, so you might as well eat the ice cream. And then you should go eat the cookies, and then you should go eat the cake because you had one strawberry. Well, that has nothing to do with eating more calories from real food. That has nothing to do with your goal of building muscle. That's a completely separate issue. So building muscle and eating more is not the thing you have to fear. This is what you have to connect with. The thoughts that sent you down the path of the habits you used to have. It's not the extra calories that's making you do that. It's something entirely different. So whatever triggered you to lose control and go off the rails and eat all the things in the past, you have to now identify that you have to do something different so it doesn't happen again this time. So that's a whole topic for another day, but the short answer there is it all has to do with identifying the thoughts and having some rebuttals and having some mental conversations. It's basically the same process we're talking about here. Identify the thoughts, identify the lie, and on and on and on. Okay, so here's the truth. We identified the lie that eating more food, real food, calories is going to make you lose control and then gain body fat. That's a lie. So the truth, what is the truth? The truth is eating healthy food, real food in proper quantities to support optimal health, which is what you would be doing if you're intentionally going on a building phase, does not lead to fat gain. And if you don't know that yet and don't believe that yet, the first thing you need to focus on is teaching yourself that. And that's what these ladies, that's what Jennifer and Bubbles over here mentioned. They've learned, I want to put this one back up, so much more aware of nutrient density now. So when you understand what food is doing in your body, when you get some education, so that's one of the pieces I'm going to talk about, a very simple step-by-step process. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but education is a huge part of it. Learn about nutrition, learn about what certain foods and nutrients do for your body and in your body, how your body processes them and breaks them down and uses them. Learn about macronutrients and micronutrients. The more you understand about nutrition and how it works, how the body works, the less you have to fear. It's like turning the light on when you think there's a monster under the bed. And you turn on the light and you show your child, look, there's no monster under the bed, right? Educating yourself enlightens the mind. And now the lies are a lot more clear. So lean into the power of education, learning. Recognize that all calories are not created equal. All foods don't do the same things, and different nutrients serve different purposes. One of the basics we teach in the academy is about fuel calories versus what Bronson likes to call them functional calories, protein. Building, protein is a building block. Fats and carbs are energy sources. When we have too much energy and our body doesn't need that much energy, it stores it for later use because our body is a beautiful, intelligent, amazing thing and is trying to keep us safe. And that's what kept people safe when they lived without refrigerators and grocery stores. They needed to be able to store body fat so they could tap into it later when there was a famine. Oh, Christina, I love this comment. I've been working on this more and more. I'm finding freedom as I am teaching myself this concept. Oh, I love that. So, so happy. So happy you're coming to this. So, understanding what nutrients do and understanding that, yes, eating hyper-palatable, highly processed, addictive foods ad nauseum means we're now going to have this overfull fuel tank and probably fill up on those foods and then not have room for protein, the building blocks of our body, or have reactions to those foods because now our brain is lighting up all the dopamine and it's telling us more and more and more. And now we're getting cravings, and now we understand why we're getting cravings. There's so many things you can learn about nutrition. The Academy is a great place to do it. When you understand, oh, I know why I'm craving these things. It's because I'm eating these things that are making me crave them more. We now learn, okay, well, it doesn't mean I can never eat anything that's hyperpalatable, that tastes really good, that I want more of. But I need to learn how to put that in context of my protein content for the day, my micronutrients, is my body getting everything it needs? Am I keeping these other things in check so that I'm not overdoing it on them? So many different things we can go down there. But when you understand that, it helps to ease the fears. Ooh, this is a great segue. I do not say I can't. I say I choose for my why. That is a great segue. I'm going to get into some of that in a minute. So here's the thing. This is what is different about bodybuilding. We eat with a purpose in mind, whether we are in a building phase or in a cutting phase. We're not out of control with food when we're not on a cut, dieting. We take our growth phase just as seriously as we take our cutting, fat loss phase. So to embrace the gains, the most important thing you need to do is one of the same things I teach you all to do about your cutting phases. Let go of the all or nothing thinking. Be just as focused and diligent about your growth process as you are with your shredding, cutting, getting lean. So that leads us into fear number 2. The fear of gains, the fear of growth, the fear of being in a potentially bigger body or a body that weighs more. The fear of gaining size, weight, muscle. Okay? So let's talk about shifting your mindset towards building. How do you adjust your goal and adjust your mindset and retrain your brain to embrace the gains? Well, as Christina just said, it comes back to the why. Revisit the why. Why, if you're asking yourself, why do I want to lose weight? Is it really just about being smaller? Is the whole purpose and reason why you want to lose weight to just be in a smaller body? Or is it actually about something else? Drop into the chat for me some of the reasons, some of your, doesn't have to be your deep, biggest inner why, but some of the reasons why you want to lose weight. Whenever you've said, I want to lose weight, or I have a goal to get 20 pounds off, what is that about for you? Why do you want that goal? I will say most of the ladies here in this group are here because you don't just want to be in a smaller body that looks exactly the same as it did when you were bigger. You want to actually change the shape of your body, not just the size. You want to change the ability of your body. You want to be more capable, more strong, more resilient. You want to feel confident and sexy in your body. You want to look and feel fit. Yes, upstate keto girl, what up? Mobility. You want to be able to move and be capable of moving your body. Most of you here, 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s. You want to live long, healthy, fit, capable lives. You want to be capable of doing things on your own independently without somebody helping you get up and down off the toilet when you're 70 years old or 80. I love this, Simpson. I want to see the muscles that I'm building. Yes. Right? It wasn't just about losing weight at all costs. Because a lot of you have done that. A lot of you have lost 30, 50, 80, 100 pounds. And you came here because you don't look any different. You look smaller, but you don't see any definition. Maybe you don't have any yet because you haven't focused on building muscle at all, even throughout your entire fat loss phase. Rhonda, I want to be toned and built. I want to look bomb for my age. I want to look fit. That's what we're talking about. So the answer to this question is not really conditional on your weight at all. It has to do a lot more. And when we really get deeper into the why, it has to do a lot more with who you want to be as a person, how you want to feel in your body, how you want to show up in your life, how you want to be seen, perceived. Oh, yes, Christina. I used to think so, not anymore. I want to lose weight because I feel way more energetic and wear clothes easier. But it's not all about that anymore. I want strength and energy, mental clarity too. Yes. Becky, I love it. My girl. All these things. I don't want to be a fat, skinny person. I want to look like I could kick ass. Jennifer, yes. After the weight loss, I needed to regain so much lost function. I was so under-muscled. Embracing growth and gaining was just as challenging to get used to as the discipline for a cut. Absolutely. So, with all that said, that is the mindset when you can focus on what am I looking for? What do I think that the weight loss will do for me, right? Because none of us ever want to do anything in life unless we feel that we will be happier in the having of whatever that thing is. We will be happier, we will be more fulfilled, we will be more satisfied. That's ultimately what it comes down to when we're seeking anything. We're seeking a promotion, we're seeking more education, we're seeking a life partner. Whatever it is we're looking for, we believe we will be happier in the having of that thing. So if you think that you want to lose weight and it's all about weight loss, there's something you are seeking through getting that weight loss that you believe you will have. And as these ladies said it, it's better mobility, more confidence, all of these other things that you believe you will have when you have lost the weight, right? So the truth is, because remember, we're looking at the lie and the truth. The lie is, I'm afraid of weight gain because I don't want to weigh any more than I do now. And the truth is, no. The way you would feel in what you think a smaller body will make you feel, you will actually feel that way in a stronger, fitter, healthier body, regardless of what it weighs on a scale. So that's the truth. And you can feed that to your little lying limbic brain monster back there. Okay? So here's the process, y'all. Oh, wait, one more thing before I get into the process. Let me just move this down here. Okay. So education, just like I mentioned in the other piece, education can help with this. Educating yourself to retrain your brain. Why these ladies are all in here saying, I love it now, I'm feeling it, I've done it, right? They have learned, they've been around, and the things I'm going to mention in a minute, they've probably done all these steps. Learning that all weight is not created equal, just like all calories are not created equal. Muscle weight is not the same as fat weight. And clearly when we're afraid of gaining weight, we're actually afraid of gaining fat. That's really what it is. We don't want to look and feel worse in our body by putting that weight on. So really, we just don't want excess body fat. Intentionality versus out of control eating. We already talked about that, identifying the difference there, educating your brain about the difference there. Learning and educating yourself about the importance of metabolic restoration. And I've talked about this on Masterclasses before, that you'll never actually change your body if you don't do the step of improving your metabolism. And that happens through a building phase. When we're always dieting and always trying to lose, we will not be our healthiest. We will not be able to restore our metabolism. And then we're just going to be stuck there because there's nowhere to go from there. So when you've learned that, you can internalize that and go through the steps to reinforce that for your brain. And then knowledge of nutrition, understanding, because part of it is this belief that we're capable of doing this, right? So the more knowledge of nutrition you have, the more you will realize that, hey, I never have to go backwards again. Because with the knowledge, I can't unknow it. I can't unsee it. I've learned and now I know. And so if I choose to put something into my body that's not beneficial for my health, for my wellness, for what I'm trying to achieve, that is something that I now have to grapple with on the front end versus not even having the first clue about nutrition and not knowing that a donut is not a good idea. Now, the next piece is once you have the confidence in knowing, hey, I know a little something about this stuff, right? What's the worst that can happen? If I put on body fat, then what? I can change the plan. I can get it off again. That's one of the things that helps me in a building phase. After a show, and here's something, because some people watching this, maybe you're underweight. Maybe you're too lean. Maybe you actually need to put on a little bit of body fat along with muscle. And I do know many women who are in that place, body dysmorphic, likely have some disordered eating going on, under eating, and body image issues where you don't see yourself the way other people see you, and you think you're overweight or over fat when you're really not. I'm going to give you a couple of resources in a little bit about that. But if I put on body fat and I'm not happy with that, I know the process to take it off again. So it's okay. It's okay if I put on a little more than I want to put on. I can just take it off again later. But right now, I have to be committed to this goal. And then finally, a great question to ask your brain to help retrain it. What's the alternative? If I keep doing what I've always done, I'm going to keep getting what I've always gotten. So what's the worst that can happen? If I put on weight, the wrong kind of weight, body fat, I can always take it off again. And then what's my other option? What else am I going to do? Just keep dieting? Then what? I love that question. What's the alternative? I've said that on other masterclasses, and I will say it many times again, because that is such a great question to bring that emotional brain, when it's being all emotional and trying to freak you out, back into reality. Well, what are my options here? If I don't lean into building my metabolism, building my muscle, building up what I'm capable of living on, the amount of food I can eat on a regular basis and maintain, if I don't do that, what else is there for me to do at this point? Pretty limited. It's a pretty limited option at that point. So here's the mental process for a building phase. And it is, as I said, no different than the same mental process we go through for any other change we are seeking to make in our lives. Habit change, behavior change, health, fitness, applied to anything else in your life. Number one, clarify your goal and why it's important to you. For a building phase, that goal would be building muscle, and you can give it a number, X amount of pounds of muscle or X percentage of skeletal muscle mass. However you're tracking, you can use your tracking, your smart scale, as Becky mentioned here. Where is it? Oh, Bubbles mentioned it. I'm more excited about the fat and muscle numbers on my smart scale than I am about my weight number. So take your tracking, set your goal. Clarify that goal. What am I seeking to achieve right now? Give it a time frame. That really helps too. I know for myself and many other competitors going into a building phase, it helps to know I'm not going to just be building forever. I know that it's going to have an end date. So if I start feeling uncomfortable, if those fears start coming up, I can say, hey, it's okay. I'm only going to do this for 6 months. I'm only doing this for 4 months. I'm only doing this for 1 year. Whatever your time frame is, set your time frame, clarify the goal. And more importantly than anything else, why are you doing it? Why is that goal important to you? Write it down. Put it in the notes on your phone. Make it your screensaver. Put it on a note on your mirror. Put it somewhere you can see it and reflect on it daily so you can keep it in mind. Keep it front of mind. And that's actually number 2. Number 1 is clarify your goal and the why. And number 2 is reinforce it every day. Because the same thing that would send us off track when we're in a fat loss phase is the same thing that would send us off track in a building phase. We're not present to the reason why we're doing this. So we lose sight of the goal, and then all of a sudden we're coming up for air. We start listening to the emotional brain because we're not thinking about what we're trying to accomplish. So you have to reinforce it daily. How do you reinforce it daily? Reflect on the goal and the why. You could do like a quick, I love reading my why into my voice notes and then playing it for myself. So I hear my voice saying my why, and then you can record it and play it while you're brushing your teeth in the morning. So write it down somewhere where it can be a quick reference. You can look at it every single day. Number 2, the second part of how you reinforce this on a regular basis, feed your mind with the things that help reinforce the new belief or the new goal. So if your goal was always fat loss and now you're terrified of gains and you're trying to retrain your brain, the education, inspiration, and motivation, put that into your brain daily. Podcasts, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you need to watch, YouTube, go find people who are doing the thing or have done the thing that you're striving to do and watch their stuff. Education on the nutrition piece, why it's important to eat more. Dive into that. Just like when you probably started keto, you probably read all the books and watched all the videos because you wanted to learn about it and learn how to do it right, which is so relative. But I digress. So feed your mind. Watch things that motivate you and inspire you. And the next thing being surround yourself with the people who have the same goal or who have achieved that goal. You've seen all the ladies here in the comments sharing their experience. Come on into Keto Bikini Secrets Facebook group. You will be surrounded by women who are on a similar journey. That really helps because when all you're doing is surrounding yourself with people who thought the way you used to think and did things the way you used to do things, it is going to be more difficult. See how similar this is to a fat loss journey? It's the exact same thing. It's just on the other side. And then finally, if you need to, get professional help from a coach, a therapist, a mentor, somebody. Don't try to do it all on your own. So let's go through that really quick, and then I'm going to go into some of these questions here. Clarify your goal and your why behind the goal. You need to commit fully to the goal, whatever it is. Just like you committed to your fat loss journey, you need to commit to your gaining journey, your growth phase, your building. It needs 100% commitment. So clarify the goal and write it down, and then do these 4 things to reinforce that daily. Reflect on it. Feed your mind with education, inspiration, and motivation that reinforce the goal. Surround yourself with a community of like-minded people. And if needed, get professional help. And ideally, you have a team of professionals helping you, a coach, a therapist, a trainer. The more, the better. That's another community that can support you. We love you too, Deb. Deb says, I love this group. Yes. Okay. Here's Simpson's question. What can I reasonably expect to gain in muscle a week, month, whatever? And Bubbles shared that, yes, I have an awesome class on this. It is awesome. And it's definitely not as fast as you think. Yes, indeed. So I have a couple of workshops that we posted in the Facebook group. that I did for free, all on figuring out the numbers. But it can be very complex to go through all of that. What I will say is, and I think I also did a masterclass on this way back. It was one of my first masterclasses on realistic expectations and goal setting. And Simpson, because you're in the academy, I believe I also posted that inside the knowledge vaults, inside, I think it's the general vault. Realistic expectations and goal setting. Muscle gaining is much slower than fat loss. And I'll give you my quick reference numbers that I always like to share. For fat loss, I always like to say 1% of your body weight per week is a pretty healthy, but still aggressive goal, which is usually lower than what women want or expect. They think they should be losing 5 or 10 pounds a week. That is not realistic. 1 pound of fat loss, 1% of your body weight per week in loss is an aggressive but healthy rate of loss. For muscle gain, we're talking, you'd be lucky to get 1 pound of muscle gain in a month. So it's like a quarter of the rate at best of fat loss. So I like to say, when we're in a building phase, if you're gaining 4 or 5 pounds a month, you're probably gaining some body fat along with your muscle gains. Newbies can gain a little bit faster, but also older women, we're talking over 60, are going to gain a little bit slower. So there's a lot of factors at play. I think I talked about this on that masterclass. I know I talked about it on the workshops. There is a great precision nutrition article that gives some charts and some breakdowns of all of the things to consider: your health status, your age, your level of fitness, like how long have you been doing this, right? If you're new, you can gain faster. If you've been, for me, I gotta throw everything at it to try to gain every little bit of extra muscle that I can, because I've been lifting now for 8 years. So the longer you've been doing it, the harder it is. So bodybuilders actually gain at a much slower rate, professional bodybuilders, than the average public. But there can be other things that slow down that rate as well. So it is just a much slower process. If you gained 10 pounds of muscle in a year, that would be fantastic. That would be freaking amazing, honestly. Even half a pound a month is amazing. So this is why that mentality for recomp, mindset for recomp masterclass will also be very powerful if you're in a gaining or building phase. I also did a building masterclass, a building phase masterclass you can check out as well. And I probably talked about the rates of gain there as well. It is a slow process. So it's very important to be diligent about what we're doing and commit, because it ain't going to be a short process. I like to say muscle building is really for the rest of our lives. It's not something we should say, oh, I hope in 3 months I can be done with this and then move on. Like, this should be now a part of your life, because it's something, especially women in our 40s, 50s, 60s, we need to be thinking about our 70s, 80s, 90s. And if we're not doing something to purposely build, we will lose muscle, we will lose bone density, and we will end up frail and sick. Muscle is the organ of longevity. I'm using the words of Gabrielle Lyon, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon. So if you need something, somewhere to go to get that inspiration and motivation and education, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon is a great place to go with her videos, her new book, Forever Strong. That is a great place to reinforce the goal of building and help get out of that fear mindset and into that this is what I really need to do to live my best life later in life. Ooh, I love this. Yes, check this out. Simpson says, I just checked the history and I've gained close to 1.5 pounds since starting. Awesome. Yes, because we're a few months in now. So yeah, muscle. Exactly. Heck yeah. That's right. She has gained. And this is the beauty of it, though. The gains You don't have to fear the gains when you know what the gains are. So I didn't even say this, and I should have said this earlier. I did mention tracking, but when we're afraid of tracking, which is another thing I harp on all the time, this fear of the scale, we need to be tracking more than just our weight. And we need to not fear tracking, because when we understand what's behind those numbers, it really can help break down that fear as well. And these ladies are showing you that. And Christina's, you're right in the beautiful ballpark of that fat loss. Beautiful rate of fat loss. 1 pound a week is fantastic. So yes, y'all are killing it. That's amazing. There is a resource I wanted to share with y'all, because I just found this lady. I never heard of her before. Let's see. I got to find her name here. And I'm obsessed. I'm literally like binging all her YouTube videos. Tabitha Farrar. Yes. Farrar. She has a YouTube channel. Let me go to her channel.
Please restrict food.
Oops. All right, Tabitha Farrar. Eating disorder recovery coach, I think is what it's called. Yes. And she is British, and she has the absolute best accent. She reminds me of one of our former members who I love dearly, who I won't call out here, but I know some of y'all know her and may even know who I'm talking about. But her accent reminds me of her. So I love that. And she's funny, and she just has such great energy. Tabitha Farrar, she wrote a book called Fear of Weight Gain. And she wrote a book called like Restore, Retrain, basically all about retraining the brain. She had anorexia. She fully recovered, and she breaks it down. Like she pulls no punches. She tells it like it is. I just freaking love her energy. She's not a fan of the keto diet, so keep that in mind. A lot of people in that space are not. But she is definitely a little out of the norm, and so I love that. I love how she just speaks very matter-of-factly. She did a video, and here's the thing. When I was looking up some videos because I wanted to see, what are other people saying about this stuff? And every time I searched and tried to find content on not fearing a building phase or not being afraid of bulking or the mentality for bulking, and I didn't find much. You know what finally brought up some resources? When I searched something and it got me into the eating disorder side, and that's where all the resources and all the support are around overcoming the fear of weight gain. It's all as it relates to eating disorders. So if any of you are out there seeking more resources around this, do searches on that, eating disorder recovery and fear of weight gain. You will find so much more helpful information. Unfortunately, there's not that many people talking about it as it relates to bodybuilding and fitness. So let's change that. We can definitely change that. I can talk more about it. But really love her stuff. She's a great resource there. One of the videos I watched earlier today that was freaking awesome. It was called Want versus Willing. And this got to the crux of any habit change. You could apply it to going to the gym, doing your training. You could apply it to a fat loss phase. You could apply it to a gaining phase. You could apply it to anything. But she talked about want versus willing. We say we want this thing, but we may not really want to do the thing that's necessary to achieve the thing we say we want. So I want to change my body composition. I want to restore my metabolism. I want to do this building phase, but it's lip service because we're afraid of weight gain. So the fact is we don't want to do the things that are necessary to do the building phase. So in that case, what she brought up was you don't have to want to gain weight. If you're waiting for the moment that you're wanting, that you're going to want to gain weight, good luck. It probably ain't going to come. The fears are still going to be there. But you have to teach your brain not to fear it by doing the thing that you fear. And it's so badass because, y'all, that's really what it comes down to. Anytime we're not taking action on things we say we want, it's because this limbic brain is creating these fears. And instead of doing it anyway, we're listening to the fears and we're not doing it. And until we start doing the things we fear, we will continue to fear them. We have to give our brain evidence that doing the thing is nothing to be afraid of, because we've done it and now we have evidence that I didn't die, everything's okay. So what she had to say was, you may not want to do those things right now. You may not want to actually gain weight on the scale right now, and that's okay. You just have to be willing to do the things that you need to do to get the results that you say you want. There's a difference between want and willing, right? I don't want to go to the gym every day. I just have to be willing to go to the gym because there's something that I want. So that's also connecting to the why. Connecting back to the why is, what do I want? What am I seeking? And does this thing that I don't want to do right now, is it going to get me what I'm seeking? The answer is yes. Okay, so that all I have to do is be willing to do those things. And then as you do them, as you put on weight, that is muscle weight, or let's say you're severely underweight and you actually need to put on some body fat as well, and you start to put on that weight as well. Hello, all competitors who get really, really lean, we can't just stay at that low body fat percentage. We have to put on body fat too. And that's very scary. But as I put on the body fat that's necessary for health and more muscle, I learn by teaching my brain that there's nothing to fear, that life goes on, that life can be better because now I'm not hungry and cold and tired all the time. Hey, life can be pretty good when I have a healthy level of body fat, when I have more muscle, when I'm able to eat more, when my metabolism is roaring. So we have to teach ourselves through evidence. Give your brain evidence that there's nothing to fear by doing the thing. And she's got videos on that too, so you can check her out for sure. Bubbles had a question way up here. I want to go back to, if I can find it. And if y'all have any other questions, we're right at an hour now, so drop in any questions if you have them. Okay, I have most days that are within plus or minus 10 grams of my protein. Then I have days that are much higher, like today. It seems to be working for results. What's your input on that? And I think you were saying you were really hungry and you ate a whole lot of protein today, right? Or I thought that was Becky, but maybe that was Bubbles. So basically most days you have a protein goal and you're staying pretty close to it. And then some days you go crazy on the protein. What's my input? I mean, there's no problem with that. Are you thinking if there's no problem with eating extra protein. If it's working for results, don't know what results you're looking for and how it's working for those results, but maybe you can drop a comment on that. But yeah, I mean, there's certainly nothing wrong with eating extra protein. Anybody else have any questions about building, about fears around building, about what I shared here tonight? I know there's a bit of a delay with these things, so I'll hang out for a sec and just make sure that we have covered everything. Hopefully this has given you some things to think about, marinate on. Don't fear the food. It's amazing. Aw, thanks, love. Holler at me and let me know if you have any ideas for future topics, or just y'all drop it in the Facebook group and ask your questions. And that's usually where these things come from, is from the Academy or from questions I get on Facebook. Next week, we are talking about dining out, on the go, convenient options. So we're getting back to our food topic. This was kind of a food topic too, although it was more mindset. But we're going to wrap up April next week with one of the most popular questions I always get asked, which is about, what do I do when I'm on the run, when I'm on the go, when I'm traveling? We are putting together a resource that was requested inside the Academy about some tried and true fast food places you can go, that kind of a resource. So I'm going to build a whole masterclass around that, and we'll share that resource when it's ready as well. So that'll be something we can chit chat about in the group over the next week. It is the end of April, y'all. It's almost the end of April. One more week, 1.5. Yeah, one more week and one day, and then it's going to be May. Wait a minute, I got to say it like this. It's going to be May. So with that being said, for those who are still watching, we are going to open back up Academy membership. So for those who've been interested, curious, and not kind of wanting to wait until the next program launch, which will be starting in July. We're not starting the summer shred or restore program, because we are going to give a restore option, meaning metabolic restoration, because this topic of building is so important to us. So the shred will have that option, but that is not launching until, we're not going to open it until July. It'll open up for enrollment in June, but it will start in July. So if you don't want to wait, we are opening back up Academy membership. I have actually already opened up enrollment on the website again. So if you want to join, you can join now, anytime between now and the end of the prep, and you will get the training programming and the education and all of the things that we're doing inside the prep. And you can continue on from there and stay on for our future programs. So if that's something you're interested in, check out the Academy information. I'll make sure I drop it in the description of this video, and it's all inside the Facebook group as well. Holler at us, and Coach Mary Grace or I will be in touch with more information. All right, ladies. I love it. I love it. I love it. Y'all excited for May? I'm excited for May because Low Carb Cruise is coming up. I will be on stage in less than 3 weeks in the Angel Competition Bikinis fashion show in Baltimore on May 11th. And then 2 weeks later, we are heading out for the Low Carb Cruise. So that's it for now. Y'all have a wonderful week. Go crush it. Love y'all. I will see y'all on the interwebs. Peace out.